follow the trawler. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you.
I'm now away to get me suit measured. Yes!
What about your start to the game?
It wasn't bad, was it?
Well, I asked him which way he thinks it should be done. We get down to it. And then we talk about it for 20 minutes. And then we decide I was right.
Messi! You could drop a tarantula into his shorts and he'll still be cool.
You can't win anything with kids.
But Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp! Dennis Bergkamp!
I think I'm a special one.
I'm the normal one.
Honestly, I will love it if we beat them. Love it. As electrifying as a hairdryer thrown into a hot tub, my friend. It's Torres. Unbelievable. This is not just a dream, it's a wet dream of orgasmic proportions.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sacked in the Morning, the football podcast that has a legitimate psychic on our team. Danny, I believe last week, what was it, 3 of the predictions that you made have actually come true so far?
Hold on, let's see. It was the coach, Wolves.
Wolves, yeah. Who technically weren't the first to fire their coach, but they did technically hire a coach.
Technicalities here.
Technically, they hired the coach before Southampton did. So I'm counting that as correct because they kind of let go their standing coach, really, didn't they? So I'm going to count that. So, what else did we come up with?
What else was it? Hold on.
Zidane, I think.
Zidane, yeah, coaching the French national team.
Yeah. And I'm sure there was something else.
Was there?
I feel like there
it
was. Maybe I'm wrong, but
I think it was just those two.
Yeah, I don't think there was 3, and you're only given 1 on a technicality. So.
Hey, man, it's more than you got. Give him a break, man.
Exactly, which is why I'm fighting this technicality one, because I haven't got any yet.
Oh, sorry, I turned my camera off. I didn't mean to do that. I'm trying to get rid of...
Censor there.
Oh, yeah. That's it, right. Yeah, just...
You know, like one of those.
I'm trying to get rid of me from this little line of people because it's confusing me.
I'm trying to get rid of you. You're the host. We can't get rid of you.
No. What it is, as you're looking at the screen, I've got the 3 video feeds, and I keep looking at mine. It's really distracting me.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just trying to see if I can get rid of me from this lineup.
Oh, fair dude.
It's really annoying.
I can turn my video off if that helps.
No, that's not it at all. It's literally just me. You know what? I need to just stop looking at that part of the screen. Just sit there like that for the whole.
Oh, this is going so well, boys and girls.
Anyway.
Someone said we were a professional podcast, but I would like to make that person right now.
They said this at one point, but I've never agreed with that fact.
Yeah, I'm gonna dispute that till days come, man.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, we've got me who's being distracted by my own video. I keep looking at it. Phelan who's making dinner in his kitchen, And I don't know what Danny's doing. I can just see his beard.
I'm just watching football.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh,
So, anyway,
this
my-
has been great. We'll see you next time.
you wouldn't have thought this was the football podcast, would you? This is like the Bible. Where
This
am
is
I?
worse than the
Yeah.
football.
My name is Richard. I am your host each and every week. I'm joined by two guests. No Tom this week. He is currently off on his travels. So I'm joined by two other guests. He did abandon us, but it seems like he's gone at the right time, it seems. Because you know what? He'd just be sitting there going, what's so funny? I don't get what's so funny. You know? Anyway, should we talk about the Brazil squad? So, this week I am joined by my two guests. If you want to introduce yourselves.
Oh, Christ. It's Thelan. How we doing?
Feeling?
Hey guys, Daniel here.
Daniel,
You call
how are
me
you?
Dan. Danny.
How are you both?
Yeah, we're great. Oh, I'm great. I don't know. I said weird as if I can talk for Danny, but still.
We're great.
Oh,
Right, let's try and get this back on track, shall we?
Have fun editing the bones out of this one.
I mean, I don't. As long as I get rid of the swearing, I'm just going to leave all this in. I don't really care.
Honestly, do so.
Oh, my stock manager asked for the link for this.
Just
What's in the world?
Just got to get rid of the swearing. Everything else is copacetic, man. Right. So, the topic for this week that we decided that we wanted to that you guys decided. I think it was mainly just Danny. But stop looking at the video, Richard. It's so distracting. I just keep watching myself. Stop. Because you know why? Because I'm talking to me, and you guys are probably like, "What's he looking at?" Do you know what the problem is? It's because there's usually someone else here, so I can look at him while I'm talking. Yeah. But I just, oh my God. Anyway, topic. Come on, the topic this
Carried
week.
on from where the Bible finished. Oh,
It's just, I'm gonna put like a sheet of paper over that part of the video or something. It's just,
Oh my God.
Right.
You
Anyway,
an outtake section, I tell you.
Everything's an outtake. It seems like. I'm a terrible host. Come on, I'm supposed to be keeping this on track. The topic this week, Danny decided that he would like to talk about the World Cup squads and World Cup selections because that has been released. Well, we're recording this on Sunday. That was recorded on the Thursday of this week. Recorded? They were released on the Thursday of this week. Shh, I rescued it. It's fine. No one noticed. So, you guys would like to talk about the World Cup squads. I am going to open this, throw this out to you, gentlemen. Who wants to go? Who wants to get something off their chest first? I know that Danny was pretty adamant about something, so he's probably going to want to go. But I'll let you go. Off you go.
Honestly, okay, let's see. Tamori. So the dude has been killing it in Serie A. He won the league. He's doing well, you know. Why the isn't he? I mean, I can't curse. I'm sorry. Why is he not? Why is he not selected for the World Cup squad? You know, like because you have Maguire, you have Eric Dyer. Like both of them, honestly, like I don't think they're like they deserve to be on the national team.
One little thing I'm going to put, a little caveat I'm going to put in for Eric Dyer, at least he's playing.
Okay, true that.
He's not playing well.
No, but I mean, it's more than you can say for Harry Maguire, right?
I mean, look,
This
honestly,
is true.
Think about this. Would you rather have Smalling in your team right now or Eric Dyer? Smalling, because at the moment, like he's doing well with Roma. You know, he's not f***ing up.
Messing up.
People forgetting it.
No, I totally agree with you. I would always pick the players that are in form. Always. But this is something that England never seem to have done ever since I've been aware of English national teams going to tournaments and things like that. They have their favourites. They have their media darlings. Yeah. And that's it. To hell with everyone else.
Madison got it though.
Yeah, but I that was also because the media here. I know that you don't know this because you can't watch it here, but the media here were all clambering for Maddison to go. No one was clambering for Smalling, Tomori, Tammy Abraham. No one was saying anything about those guys. No. Everyone here was saying Maddison has to go. He has to go, right? He has to. If Maddison's not in the team, we riot. You know, so that's why he got in, because Gareth Southgate's too spineless to go against public opinion.
Honestly, I hate him. Like, I mean, I don't even know.
Strong emotion, but
no, like honestly, like I don't even know who the person is. Like I've never heard about him. You know. Next thing you know, like he's like coaching the national team. I'm
he's so young, isn't he? He's just so young.
I'm like he doesn't even have experience. You know, like where did he coach? Can you please name me?
Middlesbrough.
Middlesbrough in the England under 21s.
England under 21s, yeah.
Under 21s. I mean,
they got stuffed in all of the group stages of the under 21 Euros that we participated in. We had away one semi-final and lost on penalties. My issue with this England team is we've taken people who are not fit. We do this every single tournament, and it always blows up in our face. We've taken Kyle Walker, hasn't played a game since September.
Yeah,
Kevin Phillips, who's had 40 minutes within the last week, hadn't played before that from September. Why are we doing this to ourselves every time?
I mean, to be fair, we're not the only country that have done that this time around. There have been a few countries that have taken players that aren't fully fit at the moment. So we're not.
Can you give me an example, Reed?
South Korea have taken Son. He's only just had like facial reconstruction surgery, so he's not fit.
All right, hold on. Mane as well, right?
Yeah,
Mane's not fit. Yeah, and he's gone.
No. But they announced him. They signed him in the squad. He's injured, but they're hoping like he might recover in time, you know?
Yeah. But that's what we do all the time as well. We always name someone with the hopes that, and we try and do the mathematics and work out, well, he'll be fit for this game, and if everything goes the way it's supposed to be, that'll be the Germany game he'll come back for. You know, that's what we always do, you know? It's just so, but we're not the only country that have done that this time around, which is...
We are one of the few that have taken people that have been long-term injuries.
I mean, Calvin Phillips, he hasn't basically played all season, has he? I do not get that one at all.
And Kyle Walker is basically not going to last 90 minutes for quite a long time.
Yeah.
I
mean, you don't really have a right-back issue at the moment. You have...
I don't think they're taking Walker as a right-back anyway, to be honest with you. I think they're taking him as a centre-back.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, they'll be looking to play a 3, and he'll play on the right side of the 3.
Most probably Maguire in the middle, Dyer on the left.
Probably, or you got Maguire on the left because he's left-footed, isn't he? So
Stones and Walker's kind of the sweeper of the 3.
Yeah, I don't think Dyer will start. Yeah,
no. Dyer's going to fill out the squad, but he's so out of form. It's actually unreal.
I mean,
and Southgate gave the reason why Tammy Abraham didn't make the squad is because he's out of form, and form is important with the games coming so thick and fast. Yeah,
problem is that Dyer is already an established England international. So he gets but he's played at World Cups, so he gets a pass in that regard. You know,
experience.
Which I've never gone on the whole experience thing. I've always think that 9 times out of 10, most players make a massive impact when they've had no experience whatsoever. Michael Owen, Wayne Rooney, these are players that have always just come on and gone, well, I've got nothing to lose, and they just absolutely kill it at the first time of asking.
Yeah,
I've never really
bring them because they're not weighed down with the expectation of what's happened in the past, are they?
Exactly.
They go in completely fresh.
Yeah, and it just seems to be this thing that we have that I get the experience is necessary, but you've got enough experience in the team already that you don't need to use that as an excuse. What's Gallagher going for then? He's not experienced and he's not in good form either.
He's been shocking for Chelsea this year.
Last year,
honestly,
for Palace, sure, but
just politics, That's
it
what
is.
I feel like.
It is.
Yeah.
100%. That's what it is.
And this is where Southgate's argument about not taking a Tammy Abraham because he's out of form gets blown out of the water, because he's taken so many England players that are out of form, out of fitness. It's not going to go well.
No, honestly, he's going to regret his decision. He's going to see that because Maguire is not ready. He's not ready. Come on, let's be honest.
Like I said, he's just been. He hasn't even been playing. So, but that he'll start. He'll be in the team straight away, even though he hasn't been playing.
Definitely, he's the captain. He might even wear the.
Kane is the captain, but yeah, it's just. But this is
he's one of the captains. But Kane
right, one of the like one of the leaders.
He's one of the leaders of the team, isn't he? Supposedly.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But this is. Like I said, this is something that England have always done. Yeah, we have the players that are established, and it doesn't really matter what they're doing outside of that. They'll always be guaranteed to go. Like the first time I learned that this was a thing was at Euro 2000, when we were the only country at that tournament not to take our nationality's top goal scorer in the top division. Like, every other country took their top goal scorer, but we didn't. Why? He doesn't have enough experience. Okay, but he's the top goal scorer in the Premier League. Why would that not necessarily qualify him to be good enough?
True. He should get his chance.
Yeah, but he didn't. Alan Shearer went, and Alan Shearer hadn't scored for 3 years in an England shirt or something like that.
And that's the other thing. We only tend to take players that are in the top six, generally.
Yeah, obviously you got a lot of players that are outside of that that are going, but it is very much fashionable teams that players go from.
That's
sure.
Probably a better description of it. To be fair, fashionable teams, because the top six in England now is very much wide open with the money that's being accrued.
It's the teams with name brand, international recognition, isn't it? That's what it is. No one's out.
You think if Newcastle had been further down the table, there's no way that Callum Wilson goes.
True.
It's the same reason why Ivan Toney's probably missed out on this.
I think that came down to a choice between Toney and Wilson. I genuinely think that was it, and Wilson is in the higher team. I genuinely think that's what it was.
Wilson plays very similarly to Kane, and that's what Southgate he wanted that. Rather than having that plan B option, he went with the philosophy: if plan A doesn't work, we'll keep with plan A, and plan A must work. Yeah, he hasn't. We've got no alternative coming off the bench to play that kind of central striker. Because if you replace Kane for Callum Wilson, it's effectively the same. They'd effectively do the same thing.
Which then makes you wonder, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly.
Or is it just a coverage just in case Kane gets injured? But I think if Kane gets injured, Wilson's not starting. I think he's changing the shape of the team before anything else. Sterling's going through the middle, and you bring on Saka, and then probably he likes Sterling more than Rashford.
Honestly, Rashford should start.
I think he'll start Sterling. I think he'll start Sterling with Saka and Rashford either side.
Honestly, Sterling is another player. Like, what has he been doing this season? Like, come on.
Yeah, this season, yeah. But again, it's name brand recognition, isn't it?
I know, but like Sancho is doing well. Like, he's doing better than Sterling. That's for sure.
Sancho didn't make the squad, has he?
don't necessarily agree with that. I think they've both been as bad as each other, personally. I think Rashford's been better than both of them for sure, so he should definitely be going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'd take the players that were in form. I'd always take the players that are in form because milk it while it's there, right?
Cool.
100%.
I mean, I know that they say form is temporary, class is permanent, but 9 times out of 10, if I drop the players that aren't in form, I've still got quality in my team anyway. It's not like I'm like, oh, I'm dropping someone from here. Now I need to choose someone from League One because I haven't got anyone else. You know, it's like the quality's still there. I don't know. But I mean, I don't know why we're talking about this. We all know why. Why? Because we don't do that. We have a set team, and you can sprinkle in a couple of little surprises here and there, but then that's basically it. You know, there will be a team. And then there'll be a couple of players in the squad that you'll be like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, my big one is Calvin Phillips. I really don't get why we're taking someone who's just hasn't played at all this season, basically.
Because he's just a hype, right?
Yeah.
Last season he was a hype. The season before that he was a hype. So it's just like they're living on that expectation, you know, of oh yeah, he's hype. So I'm sure like he's gonna do something in the World Cup. You know, that's what he's thinking. But he hasn't been playing, man. All he's been doing is like, okay, he's training with City, top players, you know, but you're not playing. Like, you need game time, you know? That's where you get the fitness.
Yeah, he's only just come back to training, to be fair, in the last, 10 days. Done 40 minutes in the second half of a cup game, and he didn't even make it on at the weekend. So he's going to be horrifically short of match fitness, and there's only a week to the first game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be like Henderson and Rice in the middle anyway, isn't it? So
yeah.
But I mean, I would have left Phillips at home, and I would have taken Ward-Prowse personally. I like Ward-Prowse.
Experience,
100%.
more experienced.
I think arguably
outside of Trippier, gives us that dead ball, different pass type of option.
I think he's a better player than Phillips. And I know that's probably really controversial and a lot of people are not going to agree with that, but I think he's better on the ball. He's got a better eye for a pass. I think
guys, I don't want to jinx anything, but Rashford might be injured.
Oh, breaking news. Well, it won't be breaking news because this isn't coming out for another 2 weeks.
Something news for us.
Yeah, it's just news. Old news, you know. Oh, that's better. Feeling's back. I can watch Feeling.
Breaking old news. There we go.
Breaking old news, yeah.
I do agree, though, that Ward-Prowse he's probably our best player on the ball that we have in this country.
Yeah.
In terms of the all-round ability to pick a pass, with his vision, work rate, he's probably the best midfielder in that role. But he's at an unfashionable team like Southampton.
Yeah, that's all it is. Put him in another team. Put him in a bigger team, which I think he could do quite easily. I think he could play in a better team, better team. Sorry, and I still think he'd do a great job.
Or something, he'd be going to the World Cup instead of Gallagher. The Gallagher is his inclusion is the most surprising inclusion because every time I've seen Chelsea play this season, he has been absolutely awful in the role that he's being asked to play in. Mm-hmm. That sit as a number 2 within the pivot, that holding player while like Jorginho or Kante goes forward. He's just he's given goals away. He's been sent off. He doesn't look comfortable. He doesn't really look like he knows what his job is in that role. And yet we've decided to take him to a World Cup over a James Ward-Prowse. It's like when Theo Walcott went back in 2002 when everyone was like, "What?" It just doesn't make a lot of sense. There's no rationale behind it.
I mean, I personally think if you've got Maddison,
especially because this year it's normally a 22-man squad, but you've got 24 because you've got 26 because of the World Cup.
26 initially, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got those 4 extra players. I feel like he's used those 4 extra player slots to take the ones that are injured, rather than actually trying to build.
Yeah.
rather than actually trying to build the squad that's going to be competitive for the whole tournament, he's taken a massive gamble with taking the players that aren't match fit right now to try and get them match fit.
But then, do
without
you think
compromising his 22?
Do you think that he wouldn't have taken Phillips had he not had the extra slots anyway?
I think I was.
You know that he would
I don't
definitely
think
be
Conor
taking
Gallagher would
him
have gone.
anyway.
I don't think Conor Gallagher would have gone.
I don't think he would have
feel
gone.
like
No.
Phillips wouldn't have gone if it wasn't for a 26, because Maddison would have taken his place in that 22.
I think Phillips would have been going anyway.
Yeah, me too, honestly. Because he did well in the Euros, right?
And Southgate loves him as well, doesn't he?
It would have left us too short of options in midfield if he'd have taken Phillips, and Phillips not be fit enough to play 50% of games. Because there's no way Henderson can do it. He's already shown that with Liverpool he can't be consistent enough with where the games are coming now, because, you know, natural, it's his age. You know, all players decline the older they get.
We've had this discussion before. I don't think Henderson's ever been a mainstay in that Liverpool team anyway.
And he's been propped up by better players, and now that Liverpool's midfield is getting older, they're all being exposed individually at how they're not actually as good as they think they are. And Declan Rice can't shoulder that workload on his own.
True.
And it feels like Declan Rice anyway, his game is moving further up the pitch, going from being that holding pivot more to being that attacking pivot at the top if you're going to play a 4-2-3-1.
My issue is that there seems to be a lot of very similar styled players in that team already. There's not a lot of difference. So, like, James Maddison, Phil Foden, Conor Gallagher, Jack Grealish, these are all very similar-ish players. Mason, I don't know. I think Mount's a little bit different. I think he's more of a box-to-boxy kind of midfielder, you know, like nowhere near as good, not putting him on the same level whatsoever. A Paul Scholes type midfielder, you know, one that will arrive late in the box. Not saying he's anywhere near as good as Paul Scholes.
No, he doesn't score enough. He doesn't score enough goals.
No,
for him to be able to do that role effectively, he needs to add goals to his game, and he doesn't have it at the moment.
But that is the type of player he sees himself being, I think. You will often find him cropping up on the edge of the box, you know?
Yeah.
But he just doesn't score enough. That's the problem. But I don't put... If I put Mason Mount on the ball, I'm not expecting him to go and dribble through like 3 or 4 players or try and find like a key lock pass or something like that. Yeah. I see him being the, you know, the keep the ball. Yeah, he'll create chances for other people, but he won't be able to break down defenses.
You know what I would do?
Go.
I would play Mount as Cam. And then behind Mount, I would play Declan Rice and Bellingham. These two in the middle.
Yeah.
Rice, he'll be more like defensive, you know? Mm-hmm. Bellingham, like up and down, box to box, you know? And then you have Mount up front. You give him freedom to move, you know? Let him take his shots because he has some good shots, you know? Let him take the shots. 1, 2, 3, he might get a goal, you know? Easy.
I mean, out of the players that he's taken, yeah, but the problem is that I wouldn't have taken those midfielders in the first place.
You wouldn't take Jude?
I mean, Jude I would take, yeah, but I wouldn't have taken Mount probably. I mean, maybe in the squad, but I don't. I mean, maybe
just because they're having a bad season.
I think with the players that we've got at the moment, you'd have to take Mount because we don't have the creativity. Otherwise, someone's going to create chances.
I don't see him being that creative.
But we either sit as a 4-3-3 generally, or this wing back system with like Conte kind of plays this 3-4-3 kind of situation ish. Yeah. So you've got your back three, which is pretty much as we've already told. It's probably going to be Maguire left side, Stones in the centre, Kyle Walker on the right of the back of that back three. Then you've got it's like Trippier on the left hand side because Luke Shaw doesn't play a lot of games and Chilwell is injured and he's not even going to make it. Trent Alexander-Arnold on the right, which as an attacking point, fine. Defensively against better teams, he could be found wanting, which is going to leave Kyle Walker an awful lot to do down that right-hand side. You're obviously going to then you'll have Kane and Sterling up top with probably Saka, and then that leaves 2 spots in the middle out of Foden, Mount, Bellingham, Rice, Phillips, which is obviously then going to start Rice and Phillips, which leaves us with no creativity coming out of central midfield.
I mean, that's what he wants to start, isn't it? For sure.
That's what he wants to play, but it's a very flat-looking team. You've got to try and create so much from wide positions, which then when the fullbacks get higher, there's so much space in behind, which leaves that 5 really, really stretched trying to cover the whole field. And this is where Phillips' fitness is going to be found wanting, because he's not going to be able to do that for 90 minutes. He'll struggle to do it for 60 minutes each game, which then Henderson comes on, and he isn't dynamic enough with the ball to be able to work his way out of tight situations, and he hasn't got the pace anymore to get across the pitch from left to right. That's where we're found kind of.
Did he ever really have the pace to do that anyway?
4-2-3. If you talk about the 4-2-3-1, it's a little bit more defensively solid. I say a little bit because you end up with Kyle Walker as a right back and you end up with Trippier as a left back. But you've still got this midfield problem because how do you fit? Where do you put Foden, Mount? Because you're still going to end up with Rice and Phillips as that 2 pivot, and then you've only got one other midfielder at the top.
What I would say,
Foden on left wing.
Yeah,
and then you've got Saka or Sterling.
This is what I'm saying. I think you've got.
Sterling.
He'll play Sterling.
He'll play Sterling. Yeah, he loves Sterling, doesn't he? So. But I think you've got the players in those wide attacking positions. I think this is what I would say he would necessarily look at these players and put these players in those positions. I would say he would say Foden, Sterling, Grealish, Maddison, Saka.
Maybe Trent if he's up that high.
I don't think he'll play Trent that high. I think he'll play him more as a wing backy kind of role. But I would say he's all of the quote unquote attack. Oh, Gallagher, I think he'll also kind of slot into that kind of position as well.
I think Gallagher will be asked to cover that.
I don't think
pivot. Those 4 players will be the 2 pivot, which is dangerous because Gallagher can't do it.
Yeah, I don't think he'll put Gallagher in the 4-man midfield.
Yeah. It's the only place I could see him going as to why he's been picked. Because if you're going to put him up in those wide attacking areas, he's like the very bottom of the bloody depth chart. Really.
Yeah, which I think he knows anyway, though, doesn't he?
But if he's taking him to sit in that pivot with being that 4 with Rice, Phillips, Henderson, and then Gallagher.
But then if you're playing a 3-4-3, then there isn't that pivot position anyway.
No.
So then he'd have to fit into one of those 2 wide forward positions, which in this modern era aren't really wide forwards anymore, really.
No, they're inverted.
I mean, they're more, they're more kind of like wide central attacking midfielders now, aren't they, basically?
Yeah.
So.
But it creates the same problem that Spurs have got in the sense that we've got predominantly defensive-minded midfield players fitting in there, and we've seen it many times this season. Defend us in a low block, and we can't break it down.
Yeah, which is what I've said all along. But then this is why I would, rather than... I think that Southgate sees those players that I listed as those wide attacking players. But I would say a few of them, I would pull back into a 3-man midfield and play them as my central attacking midfielder. I know Danny says he'd play Mount there, but I would play someone like Foden in that position because I think
Foden would be my first choice to go there.
Because I think he can pick locks better than Mount can. I think Mount's a little bit more dynamic, whereas Foden's better on the ball. Yeah, and I think I think the Foden could break a defense down if needed, whereas I don't think Mount can do that. Mount would just be bashing up against that brick wall like all day long,
like a wind-up toy. Just keeps running into the wall and going back.
Basically, he'll just keep banging against it and nothing will happen. Whereas I think Foden, Grealish, I mean, I would say Gallagher as well, but I wouldn't play him. But those players are a little bit more technical on the ball, and they could probably find a little intricate pass better than Mount can. But it doesn't matter because Southgate's not going to play him at that position anyway. He's going to play them as wide attacking players. So, I mean, Foden plays a wide attacking role for City. So does Grealish. But I think that they give him more freedom in that City team anyway. Yeah. Whereas in an England team under Southgate, it's more rigid, and this is your position.
It's not so much that it's more rigid. It's the defensive requirement of those wide
quality,
players.
Yeah, the quality around them is not as good, is it? So.
And the defensive requirement is significantly higher. For City, you very rarely see Foden come the other side of the halfway line. Very rarely. With England, especially when you've watched them play, there were many times you've seen Foden at the edge of his own 18-yard box. In that low block defensive shape, which Southgate seems to really favour, or by default, as England, we go to when the game means something more than a group game, when we try not to lose rather than trying not to win a game. So, and that really stifles what Foden can do, because he's not given that opportunity to try and pick a lock, take a risk with a pass further up the field, because if you take that risk further back, you've got nobody up there to give it to other than Harry Kane.
Yeah.
And
I think Sterling will probably be a bit higher than Kane.
But then you're playing a crossfield ball, which you've got to get absolutely spot on.
I think it will be more like the Euros, where when Kane dropped, Sterling moved more into like a centre forward kind of role, which is why I said that if Kane gets injured, I think he'll play Sterling through the middle.
But that's why I think I don't think he would play Sterling through the middle. He'll bring Callum Wilson in to do that job.
I don't think he likes Rashford up through the middle, and I don't think he'll play Wilson either.
Then there's no reason to take Callum Wilson otherwise.
I think, and this is just my think, I don't know this obviously for sure, but I think Callum Wilson makes no sense whatsoever. He's a penalty pick.
But then if you're going to take a penalty pick, you pick Ivan Toney. He's got a much better penalty record than Wilson.
He's playing at a team that's lower down the league.
That's why he gets more penalties.
But he's playing for a team that's lower down the league. You can't take a player that low down the league. I mean, we've already taken James Maddison. I can't take two players from outside the top 10. Don't be stupid.
Yeah, but we all know what taking a player for a penalty pick, how dangerous that can be.
It's the most stupid thing in all of football. Oh, quickly, let's make this substitute so he'll take a penalty. It's so stupid. I hate it. I hate it so much. It's like, great.
They haven't caught up to the speed of the game. They haven't caught up with the atmosphere. And you're going to send them in cold to go take a penalty against a goalkeeper that's just played 120 minutes and is fully switched on.
Also, just think it's such a ridiculous thing to deem, this player's better at penalties than this player is. And it's like, okay, they may be technically better at striking a ball, but there is an element of luck in penalty taking as well. And pressure, yeah. So if I've been on the pitch for 90 minutes, 120 minutes, whatever, I might be tired, but at least I'm in tune to the game. I'm switched on. I've calmed down to the pressure. You know, there's always pressure with the penalty. I get that. But I've been playing the whole time. So my adrenaline isn't just going to go through the roof because my adrenaline's already been tapped out, basically.
You're calm to the situation. You're not going to come on and suddenly go, know in your head mentally that you are taking a penalty. So your blood pressure, your anxiety and everything else that, you need to be on a level to take a penalty is going to be absolutely through the roof. Up at the moon.
Plus, I think mainly just, pure statistics as well. I guarantee you, if all three of us took 50 penalties each, I reckon on average, we'd probably average out about the same, to be honest with you. I think that we'd all kind of be there or thereabouts. Pardon?
You see my penalties there are awful.
I might score all 50.
I'm going to put a pro keeper in goal as well, just so you know. But
sorry, Dan, I'd take one of your penalties.
Yeah.
It's getting fighting talk. Come on.
I was actually quite good at saving penalties, to be fair.
Your mother would not be able to score a penalty if she tried. Because I have been led to believe that she is of the large variety. But yeah, I mean, I genuinely think that that's what Wilson's gone for. I don't think he'll play. He'll get on as like a sub in like the 86th minute or something like that if we're already winning a game.
If we happen to win both games.
Or the 86th minute if we're losing by 1 goal, he might chuck another forward on, maybe. But
on a counter, yeah.
Yeah.
That's never been Southgate's MO though, is it?
No, it hasn't. But I mean, you never know. Maybe he's grown. I don't know. But yeah, but he'll bring him on as a dead rubber substitute or a penalty substitute. That's genuinely what I think he's brought him for. He will not start, even if Kane gets injured. He'll go 2 up top, Sterling, Rashford. That's what I believe. I mean, I could be totally wrong.
I can't.
But
it would be hard to kind of argue that because we've seen it from England managers before. To be fair, I mean, there were 3 players in the Euros that didn't kick a ball in anger.
Is that including the goalkeeper or not including?
No, not including.
But yeah,
it's expected from goalkeepers.
Yeah,
but if you're a goalkeeper, you know your pecking order. You know, you're going because 1, you have to name 3 goalkeepers.
Yeah.
And 2, you're being on standby in case there's an injury. If you're not number 1, you're not playing.
Unless you're Tim Krul, who comes on for penalties.
Yeah.
Stupid, so stupid. Anyway, let's get back to the main point. So the main point of all of this, Danny, is that you think that there's 3 players who are playing abroad at the moment who didn't even get a look in, right?
There was Smalling, Tomori.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I said Tammy Abraham.
Oh, you said Tammy Abraham, didn't you? Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Oh,
so basically, do we think that Southgate even went to Italy? Once?
No. There's Premier League games on. He didn't go to Italy. I doubt he'd even watch the tape of it.
I mean, he doesn't even have to go to Italy. He can just watch Tomori's highlights on YouTube, and he'll be convinced.
If an international manager did their scouting through YouTube, I would be so happy with that. Oh my God, that would be the greatest thing I'd ever hear. Yeah, I just watch their highlights on YouTube at the end of every week.
It's very much like if you're not playing in England, you're out of sight, out of mind, aren't you?
It sounds like
I mean, that's wrong.
What is it, Dave Bassett? Sounds like a Dave Bassett thing to do, doesn't it?
Ted Lasso. That's more Ted Lasso.
Yeah. Oh, is that the modern Dave Bassett, is it, yeah?
It is, yeah.
Okay, sorry. Do you even know who Dave Bassett is?
Do you not remember that story that Graham Souness got had the wool pulled over his eyes because some dude that recommended this player that was...
yeah, everyone knows that story. George Weir's cousin. Yeah. Everyone knows that story, yeah.
Like that, ain't it? It's like Colin story.
Yeah, I watched him on YouTube. Honestly, I think I'd respect him more if he said that. Just came out honestly, like, yeah, man, I don't look at it really. I just put you on YouTube.
That would be quite funny.
But
it's out of sight, out of mind, isn't it?
Yeah, very much. I would say the only exception to that is when the media absolutely
hype someone up.
Yeah, like Jude Bellingham. It was like he's only going because everyone.
But I bet Southgate didn't even travel. He'd have watched Bellingham play for Dortmund against City. He probably did. Southgate wouldn't even have gone to Europe. He'd have watched the games over
But
here.
he didn't pick him off of that anyway. He picked him because people said that he should pick him.
Yeah.
People are losing their minds over how good Jude Bellingham is, which, don't get me wrong,
he could be very good.
Yeah, but that's not how you pick someone.
No.
At least he's playing.
Yeah.
Getting the time. He's fit, His face is young.
I mean, he might very well be...
He shouldn't be going.
Yeah, that's not my point at all. My point is that Southgate didn't pick him for that reason. He picked him because everyone harps on about how good he is. It's the same thing that happened with Maddison, I don't think he would have picked Maddison had all of the media in the past 2 weeks not been going, he has to go. He has to go.
Yeah, he's not done anything, Maddison, that's really stand outish. in a
He's
Leicester
had
team that, let's face it, this year
better
is pretty much
seasons.
god awful.
Yeah.
His numbers are good though, individual numbers.
Yeah, not saying that, but I think he's had better seasons and he hasn't been included. So
The season before Euro 2020, he was very in that Leicester side. He was very good.
yeah, it's just come to the point now where everyone's like, "Oh, this guy is so good." Where it's like, "Well, I have to pick him now, don't I?" Because otherwise, the fans are going to be like, "What are you doing? You don't know what you're doing."
I'm going to get that anyway. So I asked this question during our World Cup previews, but I'm going to put it out there again now, based on the squad that's been selected. Will Southgate keep his job if we have a poor World Cup?
I don't think so. I think it's time for him to go, man. You know who you need as a coach? You need someone like Lampard, Gerrard, even though they don't have experience, but they've been ex-players, you know?
No. Lampard's an awful coach, and
totally
Gerrard's been found out.
man. I don't. Yeah, 100% disagree with that. I know that you've grown up in this generation where like ex-legends turn out to be incredible coaches, but we grew up with like Brian Robson was awful. You know, like all
Yeah, he was not a
like
good coach.
former great players are just terrible coaches. They're just because
They are.
you know
They are. Yeah.
Glenn
Case in point,
Hoddle.
Southgate right now. Case in point, Gareth Southgate right now.
I don't think Gareth Southgate's ever been accused of being a great player, but I mean, he was okay, but he wasn't like, you know, like I don't get why he was like one of the two centre backs when there were probably better centre backs in the country at the time. I mean, he wasn't even the best centre back at Aston Villa when he was selected.
I mean, he was selected to play defensive midfield anyway under Venables. Yeah, he was a defensive midfielder, wasn't he? In that 3-5-2.
He was back three, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was three. It was predominantly a 3-5-2, and Southgate was the sitting player of the two players either side of him because he had instant Gascoigne.
Yeah, no, I would not agree with that.
I don't know who we would put in as coach, but I don't think if we have a poor World Cup, I don't think Southgate's survives.
How poor is poor?
Group stage. Group stage last 16. If we don't make the quarters or the semi.
Last 16, no, he'll be fine. Group stage.
I think he'll make it through the group stage, though.
If we go out of the group stage,
stranger things have happened. We went out of the group stage of Euro 2000, and we should have breezed through that group.
Lost to Iceland.
The 2014 World Cup, we should have gone through that group stage. We didn't. And as Richard said, Iceland.
Last 16, he's fine. He gets another shot, no problem. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. Group stage,
especially depending on who we draw in the last 16.
I still think he'll be okay. I think he'll be fine. Yeah, I think he's earned enough.
Do you not think the press? Do you not think the press though will go absolutely? Will go all guns blazing for his head?
Sure. But the press went all guns are blazing for Roy Hodgson, and Roy Hodgson still kept his job
because we went out on penalties to Italy first time round, didn't like his first Euros.
Still think he'll be all right. I think he's earned enough goodwill that he'll make it to the next tournament. Group stage, I think that's the dicey one. I think that could possibly go either way.
I don't think he survives. If we go out in a group stage, I don't think he survives. Because for us to go out in a group stage, we're going to have to. We'll end up losing to one of Wales or America, and if there's the inconceivable idea that we don't get a result against Iran, he'll be gone. If we don't make it out of this group stage, I think he'll be gone. Because the same old criticism will come back about his negativity.
Who do you think would be a good suit for England?
I have no idea on who would come in afterwards. The same problem when you're trying to pick a club manager. There's just not. Maybe Nagelsmann. Nagelsmann maybe at Bayern, potentially. Although he was under pressure earlier in the season, they've absolutely turned it round. But I feel like they should go for a younger coach rather than one of these older heads. Maybe. No, in England they'll probably make a run at Ancelotti.
Yeah, I don't see him going to England.
No, I don't. But I think we should go. I think we should go younger because it's kind of improving. The older coaches now, their days of the game is kind of passing them by a little bit. Look at Conte, you look at Mourinho, you look at those types, even Ancelotti to a degree. Like the game is starting to pass them by.
I don't necessarily agree with that. I think it's all about how adaptable you are. And I think that those coaches that you're, they're not adaptable. They don't like to change their philosophy. And I think the problem is the same thing. So Mourinho is a prime example of this, but you can also say the same thing about Wenger as well, is that when they stepped onto the scene, they were revolutionary in some of their ideas, but then everyone else caught up and then overtook them, and they refused to adapt to that situation, and that's why they started to fall behind. Whereas if you look at
the copycat, isn't it? You know, people always copy ideas that work. So when Wenger came in, as you said, like transformative in terms of how players look after themselves, how they ate. It didn't take long for every Premier League club to start doing that.
And that's the thing, is once everyone else is caught up, there's nothing special about you anymore, and now you need to find a way to adapt. Alex Ferguson was amazing at this, for instance. He would adapt all of the time. Everyone always talks about how really exciting and sexy football Man United played. That's not how I remembered them at all. There were a few seasons where they were very good, but not a lot of the time. He was just like, no, man, we'll grind out results. I don't have a problem with that. Loads of Man U teams were boring to watch, but they got results.
But
because he was adaptable.
He adapted their circumstance, didn't it? He went from playing a 4-4-2 to a 4-3-3 to a 4-2-3-1 to counter-attacking. The thing is, though, I think, like that, in terms of adaptability, he adapted to his opposition rather than trying to make plan A work. He always adapted to his opposition. But I also think
that he was open and willing to new ideas. So, for instance, when he was in England, when he first came into the English game, it was a certain way. And then when Wenger came along, he adopted that way of doing it. And then when Mourinho came, he adopted that way of doing it. And he was always adopting the new stuff as well. And I think he got to a point with that Man U team where he looked at it and thought, I can't do anything more with this. This is...
we're
going to have... This needs complete rebuilding.
The players
and he just thought, I've done this as far as I can go. Without another 10 years to turn this team over, I cannot do anything with this team. And then that's when he stepped away. He won the title that last season and thought, I have no idea how we won that, I reckon. And all of that was Van Persie, basically.
Yeah, there's an interview that if you listen to Rio Ferdinand and Owen Hargreaves, I think it was Owen Hargreaves, gave, they said that Ferguson sat them all down and basically said, if you don't find Van Persie with the ball, you won't play for me again. This guy will win us the league, but you have to get the ball to it. And he said the turning point was when Rooney hit that 30-yard pass from that close to hit the body first time and it went in. That's how United won the league that season.
Yeah, and I think that was obvious to anyone who watched that.
England might run at Guardiola because his contract's up at the end of the season.
He's never going to go to England. Not a chance in hell.
Nah.
And they wouldn't be able to afford him either.
Honestly, I don't even think England would go for a coach who's not English.
I don't know. We've done it before, but we don't go for the big coaches at the time. We go for coaches that were really good 5 years ago.
I'd argue that Capello was on the cusp of that.
I think Capello's best days were kind of behind him.
As I said, on the cusp of, because he had just won the league again with Real Madrid and turned that what was a really average Real Madrid side into league winning on the back of David Beckham, didn't he? Before Beckham went to LA Galaxy. So I would say Capello was kind of not quite at the height of his prowess, but he wasn't completely on the downward curve as we've had with.
He was at the peak of the hill.
Yeah, just coming the other side of the peak.
The crest of the hill.
Yeah.
The other things as well is that I would say that you need to look at coaches that can do well without having to spend money. And I don't think Guardiola is one of those coaches.
Yeah.
Guardiola needs to sign people in order to make a good team.
But you can make that argument about
with
a
most
lot of coaches now.
Right. Yeah, but there are players...
Especially ones that are in England.
Yeah.
Because there's so much money in the English game. Sorry to cut you off, but it was just... There is so much money in our game now that coaches don't develop players anymore.
I would look to the Netherlands if I'm going to go abroad.
France, Netherlands.
Yeah, I think
Germany.
because there's not a lot of money in those leagues. They're good at players, developing players. You know. I honestly don't know, to be honest with you. Though they'll go with someone that you'll be like, really? Okay. They probably will put Lampard or Gerrard in there, to be honest with you, and it would just be like, what the hell are you doing?
Freaking hope not. Lampard is an awful manager, and Gerrard found out.
That's the thing, though. You don't know. Next thing you know, one of them is like the coach. You know.
I hope not.
Yeah, I just don't think they're good enough. I don't know, but that's my opinion anyway. So. Right. Anyone else have anything they want to talk about?
Just while we're touching on World Cup squad, so
yep.
Memory serves, you and Tom had Brazil in the final. Was that correct?
I didn't. No.
I think Tom
did. Tom had Brazil, England, didn't he?
Yeah. So have you had a look at the Brazilian squad?
I haven't. No. All I've done is I've heard about the Firmino situation. I haven't actually seen the squad.
Let me read you the ages of their defensive players. So you've got Marquinhos that's 28, you've got Edu that's 24, Silva that's 38, Daniello who's 31, Teles that's 29, Dani Alves that's 39, Sandro that's 31, and Bremer that's 25. That in this World Cup is going to be a problem for them. I don't care how much attacking talent you've got. When you're playing a game every few days in that environment, in that, quote the Tom, in that weather, I feel like they've left themselves really, 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 really short.
I mean, they're not that
honestly
old, though.
I think they're good because like the players they have up front, like they'll cover the defense, you know.
But they've, you know, the old adage of defenses win championships.
True.
That defense is seriously, seriously, seriously lacking. One, some numbers, and two, they're very old.
Who would you add there?
I don't think they're that old. I mean, there are older defenses out there.
You've got a 39-year-old fullback that's probably not, and a 38-year-old centre back that's going to start.
Probably not.
But the difference is though, Thiago Silva is playing at least. Dani Alves, I don't know what is he doing back in Brazil. You know, I think he's just picking Alves because he has the experience. You know.
Yeah, that's
like the experience, the motivation. You know, like the team talks. You know, like I played with Ronaldinho. I mean,
maybe that's what they are taking him as, mate. How do you know he'll start?
Assistant coach, you know.
Could be. You don't know.
But don't take him as a player. Then take him as part of your coaching team.
Good cover to have though, just in case, right?
Just in case.
But if they're playing a back
JIC, baby, JIC.
It doesn't leave them with a lot of options, and I feel like this could be their undoing a little bit.
The one thing that I would like to argue in all of this is that Danny made a comment just a second ago with the quality they have up front. That I question strongly.
Why?
Because I do not think the quality of Brazil up front is as good as you seem to think it is.
Yeah, because they've selected Jesus, Pedro, Richarlison, Rafinha, Rodrigo, Anthony, Neymar, Vinicius Jr., Martinelli.
Guys, can I interrupt you for a sec? Garancho just scored the goal, 92nd minute.
Breaking news.
Is winning 2-1. Okay, yeah, it's breaking news. But this kid is on fire, man. What, like third game now? He's starting, like assists, goals. Like last game, he got 2 assists. Before that, he got a goal. Now he got a goal. You know, like he's been doing well. You know.
But I just feel like Brazil are very top. They're very top heavy with forward players. I mean, they've only selected 5 midfielders: Fabinho, Casemiro, Ramirez, Fred, Lucas Paquette from West Ham, and Rubio.
There are some good players in that front line. There are even some very good players in that front line. There is no one in that front line that I look at and go, he is amazing.
The only player in there that I would say from their front line that is what I would class as really well classed is Vicinius Jr.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Neymar,
Yeah.
I think, is on his way down.
I think Neymar has never really got to the levels that he should have got to anyway.
No, and he's on the way down on those levels.
But he plays well with Brazil. He plays well with Brazil.
Jesus with Arsenal right now is 11 games without a goal.
Yeah, but he plays well with Brazil against who? What? Bolivia?
Yeah. And that's my point. Like even with the Brazilian defence, you're going up against. There's a lot of speed out there, especially with the European teams. There's a lot of pace in those, and they're going to be left wanting. They're very light in midfield. They're overloaded with a little bit like wide attacking players. They've only really got Jesus that's going to play through the middle, and he's 11 games without a goal.
No, I agree with you. I think that they don't really have a very good midfield. I think that they're very, very top heavy, but there's no one in that team, in that front line that I look at and go, oh, he is, you know, like Vinicius Jr. is probably the only one that I would say is at that kind of level. But
Rodrigo isn't bad either.
I think Rodrigo's all right. Did you say Rafinha? Is he in the team as well?
Yeah.
I think he's all right as well. But these are
all
right players. None of them are really like, I don't know, you look at them and you think, that guy's amazing. Like, they're
all functional players.
Yeah, but I think that this Brazil team is a functional Brazil team anyway. They haven't been like the Brazil, they're not Brazil anymore, if that makes sense. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
They're not free-flowing attack with pace, overrun you. The ability to bully you. And they've literally gone, if you think of like an old PlayStation game where you just said it's all-out attack and you're playing like 2, 3, and then 5 up front or something.
But then I always think that Brazil of the past used to be quite like that as well. But the thing is that it kind of felt like they were a team full of number 9s. It just happened to be that every number 9 was not as good as the number 9. So it didn't really matter, you know? Like, that's kind of how I always used to feel Brazil were. Then they kind of went through this big slump where they had no quality at all anywhere, apart from Dani Alves was probably their best player. And if your fullback is your best player, when it's not Roberto Carlos, you have a little bit of a problem, you know? And then now they went into more of like a functional kind of Brazil where it was just like, you know, we get the job done. It's not pretty. Yeah. And now it seems like they're kind of in that stage, but they don't have the core in order to do that. You know, it's like, well, we might score, but we're going to concede a crap ton as well.
They're definitely going to ship goals. Based on that squad, they're definitely going to ship goals. I don't care how good your 2 goalkeepers are, you're going to ship goals. I
mean, everyone's talking about like that Firmino didn't go. He's another one. I don't even think that he's that good. Yeah,
he's Liverpool's top scorer, isn't he?
Yeah.
But, I mean, in a Liverpool team that's really not playing very well this season at all.
No.
As a striker, though, wouldn't you take him over Gabriel?
I mean,
wouldn't you start him, over Gabriel?
No, I would definitely take him over Richarlison, probably. But
who would you start, though, as a striker?
Probably Gabriel.
Yeah.
I mean, the 2 players from the squad that I'm very surprised that didn't make it was Barbosa and the Arsenal's Gabriel, the defender Gabriel.
Barbosa! I love that name.
Because he is an out-and-out striker. He is the out-and-out striker in Brazil.
Is he the guy?
He is the one that will score goals through the middle for them a lot more consistently than what Gabriel Jesus will do.
Yeah, he's not a goal scorer, really. Is
no,
he,
he's not.
Jesus,
he's not.
But neither's Firmino either.
No. So I'm surprised he didn't go because he is the one player that can get a goal out of nothing. as a centre forward, you know, that can just nick one that's bobbled around the box or make that run across the defender to nick one in the front post. That kind of, for lack of a better, the ugly goals, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Which which they don't have. And Gabriel as a centre back to cover the fact that Thiago Silva is old, and give them that option if they decide to go into a back three, which will give them more cover, because they have literally put all their eggs in that 10 players.
But that's another question then. Who would you have taken at the back then?
Who would I have taken out?
Yeah, at the back. Who would you have taken instead?
Well, I'd have taken the Arsenal player Gabriel, although it can be a bit ill-disciplined. I'd have definitely taken him.
Not
I wouldn't
best.
have taken.
You haven't really substituted in someone of higher quality, but
I wouldn't have taken Dani Alves. And then you've got Luis Enrique at Real Betis, is another player that was surprising to miss out.
The ex-Spanish
he was injured, no? I think he was injured, wasn't he?
But that doesn't seem to matter at this World Cup anyway. Even if they are injured, people are still going anyway. Yeah. So who cares?
They've got a distinct lack of pace in their back line up, and it is a problem.
They also had Alex Telles, by the way, in the back. They picked him, right?
He can be a liability in itself.
I don't know. I think most defenders are liabilities these days, though, aren't they?
He's functional, but he's prone to a mistake, isn't he?
Defenders aren't really defenders anymore, it seems. I mean, this is just modern football in general, I think, is that there's way more emphasis given on your attacking abilities than your defensive abilities these days. And I generally think most defenders nowadays are just not quite as good midfielders. That's what it feels like. It feels like you're not quite good enough to play in our midfield, so therefore you can play centre-back.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like to me. I don't know.
I'm not going to disagree with you. Especially the fact that they're being asked to be more ball playing than they were before.
Yeah, that's my point. Your job isn't so much make sure that you're a good defender, make sure your positioning is good, make sure that you can win a ball if necessary, make sure that you can keep a centre forward quiet. It tends to be more like, okay, good, but if the goalkeeper passes you the ball, can you do something with it?
Yeah, right. 60% of their game now has been able to play out from their own 18-yard box.
Yeah, which I don't think is necessarily the most important thing when it comes to a defender, which is why when I look at the quote-unquote great teams, I always look at them and go, they can ship goals. I never look at Man City and think, that is a 100% quality team. Because I always look at them and think, they could concede 4 in a game easily. I could see that happening. They might score 5, but they'll definitely concede 4.
Yeah, there's no great defense, like teams with great defending units. And oh my god, I can't speak plain English, but I think you know what I mean. Most teams now will always look like they can ship goals
because defense doesn't seem to be much of a. It seems to be an afterthought now. And that's what I'm saying. Defenders don't feel like defenders anymore. They feel like just not quite good enough midfielders. Hence why Eric Dyer is playing centre-back. I think he's terrible in that position.
I think Eric Dyer is absolutely just flat out awful and shouldn't be near a professional football team, personally.
He was great for a few seasons in that defensive midfield role. He was excellent in that role.
He's never been great.
And then we signed Wanyama, and for some reason that just completely broke him.
Wanyama.
But Wanyama was a great player.
He was
a much better player than Dyer.
Not for Tottenham, he wasn't.
I mean, he was better than Dyer.
Yeah.
That season, yeah. But before that, I think that Dyer was a great player.
I don't rate Dyer.
That England spine, that England spine that we had, that whole spine in general, Vertonghen, Alderweireld, Dyer, Ali, and Kane that was peak, top-notch Tottenham. And he was really good in that position, and I don't think that he was that bad a player. Then we signed Wanyama, who should have been like, well, that's 2 great players in that position. But that just broke Eric Dyer, and Wanyama just wasn't as good at Tottenham as he was at Southampton. And it was just like, great, now we have no player in that position. And then we signed Højbjerg, and he, eventually we signed Højbjerg.
Yeah. But Eric Dyer suffers from the same issue as Dele Alli. Someone come along and stole their football skills in the night.
Yeah. It's like Space Jam.
yeah, exactly. But I've never particularly rated Eric
somewhere
Dyer.
Out in the universe, there's a team of alien football players playing a team of cartoon football players for the fate of the Looney Tune Kingdom. And they stole Dele Alli's, Eric Dyer's skill. But yeah, I just what was my point? Yeah, defenders. Yeah, they're just not as good midfielders anymore. It kind of felt like when, you know, back in like the 90s and the 2000s, like Brazilian goalkeepers were terrible. Do you remember that?
Oh god, yeah. Yeah,
it always felt like every Brazilian goalkeeper was just not good enough to play on pitch, so they put him in goal.
Yeah.
That's genuinely what it felt like. Like Dida, how was he ever a number one? He was terrible.
You just got to look at the Champions League final against Liverpool. He was freaking awful.
I mean, but that's what it felt like. It just felt like every Brazilian goalkeeper just wasn't good enough to play on pitch.
Yeah.
And that's what it feels like with defenders right now, is they're just not good enough to play in midfield, so we'll stick them at the back. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on modern footballing philosophy.
No, that's really good. 2 cents, to be fair. And I have one other question for you guys, which I'm then going to take my headphones out once I've asked it, because Richard will go on an absolute tirade.
Okay, just before you ask, is this a different topic or is it the same topic?
It's going to be, it's kind of World Cup. It's not squad related, no, it's different.
Okay. So is there anything anyone else would like to talk about? Got to know where to put in the sacked in the mornings, you know? That's I got to know where to put them in. Hey, man, when you edit the show, you can do it however you want. But because I'm editing it, I want to leave myself clues of where I got to do stuff, all right?
Your tirade
started too early. Don't give me that look. Don't give me that look, man. You take that look off your face right now.
Tirade started too early.
Thelan. Please continue.
Yeah. As we move into this World Cup, which will obviously could be decided by the lovely 3 letters that are VAR.
Mm-hmm.
It's been around now for a couple of years. What is everyone's opinion on it, and what's good, what's bad, and what could be better?
Well, this one's tricky because VAR, like, sometimes they're good, most of the time they're bad.
So I can't look at Rich right now.
You don't need me to start going off on one right away, which is why I thought I'd wait for Danny. So
I can just see the blood like boiling in his face and the steam coming out of his ears.
You can go ahead, Rich. You can go ahead, bro.
I hate it. I hate everything about it. I just I can't stand it. On paper, I think it's a great thing to have. But I don't get why football thinks that it's this special kind of case where we need to make up our own special rules when it comes to how we use video assistant referees and stuff like that. Every single major sport that uses video assistant referees has a challenge system. Why are we the only sport that's different about that? That we're like, oh, no. We're not going to let you decide. We're going to take that out of your hands. You're not grown up enough to have the decision-making process. We will decide everything, and you're not going to know anything that goes on in our decision-making process. For some reason, football referees seem to be the only ones in the entire game where it's like, don't criticize us. We're very delicate, all right? We're not going to give you our reasons behind decisions. We're just leave us alone, all right? We're the only... Don't get me wrong. I don't like it when players surround referees and berate them and stuff like that. That shouldn't happen. But I think that wouldn't happen as much if referees came out and gave their decisions for why they gave... their reasons for why they gave decisions. Like rugby referees. They're mic'd up. So you can hear the conversation going on between them.
NBA as well.
NBA as well, yeah. You can hear the conversation that's going on, so you understand more why they're making the decisions that they're making, you know? Whereas football just seems to be the only one where it's like, we're not going to mic up. You're not going to be able. We're not going to give you any reason why we're making the decisions that we're making. We're not going to come out in the press conferences afterwards and tell you why we made those decisions. You cannot question us on those. We will not answer any questions with regards to that. Why are we so special in this sport where it's like, well, we're above all those other sports. We're much different. You know, I don't get why that's a thing. And the one time I know why that's a thing, because the one time I actually saw someone who was mic'd up. They did it in an Australian A-League game.
I've seen that. Yeah.
And the guy, it went to VAR.
What?
So an Australian, not Australian football, an Australian soccer game. Yeah. An A-League game. No, not Aussie rules. Football. It was football.
Yeah.
So the ref was mic'd up, and the VAR was mic'd up, and the assistants were mic'd up. So you could hear them talking amongst themselves all the time, which was great, until it came to a decision with VAR, and the VAR already made the decision, and the ref said, with his little mic, do you want me to go over to the monitor and make it look legit, or should I just give the penalty straight away? And they were like, no, go over to the monitor, make it look legit. And he goes, okay, no worries. So he goes over to the monitor knowing the decision's already been made. What the hell is that?
Wow.
And that's why they won't mic them up, because stuff like that will come in the wash.
Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't say and then he just comes all over the bottom of it and goes, f***ing bad, isn't it? I was like, it's stuff like that.
Not swear then.
Yeah. I was like, stop myself. And then Danny just comes in, yes, up, man.
There was so much anger in your face as well as you were saying that, to try and I want to emphasise his point. No, just swear. And then Danny was like, yeah, it's
son of a bitch.
Oh,
God. But yeah,
fast. It's a fast.
It's that is exactly why they won't mic them up, because stuff like that happens where they've already made the decision and they're just like, shall I just do it for the cameras, basically?
But doesn't the commentary team now in games hears the interaction between the referee?
No, they don't hear the interaction. They hear the decision before it's announced. So the mic gets turned on as the decision's made. They don't actually get to hear the discussion back and forth between them. What they hear is innuendo. It's the same way where they hear that there's going to be 6 minutes of added time and stuff like that. They've got people in places that overhear the conversation. So obviously the fourth official is included in the VAR conversation as well.
Yeah.
And the journalist in the tunnel or on the touchline can hear what the fourth official's saying.
Right, you know? Okay.
Because they all need to coordinate their notes as well.
Yeah.
So if someone's notes
yesterday, they were looking at a handball, and the VAR referee come back and said, because the commentator said, yeah, I can hear this interaction. The VAR said that there's no conclusive evidence to show it was a penalty, so it's got to be a free kick.
Yeah, which has probably come at the end of it. You probably haven't heard the discussion going on. But what they've heard is the end of it, where they've like turned on the feed and they're like, yeah, there's no conclusive evidence to suggest that would be, so we're not going to overturn it. But you haven't heard the back and forth where they're like, well, what I think is that, you know, his intention. Do you think the commentary
should hear that?
I think everyone should. I don't get
to make it
why...
seem legit, yeah.
Because in some of the Americans, like, even like the live crowd in rugby and in the NFL, they can't hear the interaction between the referee and the TMO.
You don't have to pump it through the stadium, but if you put it on the television feed,
we'll turn it on so they can speak to the crowd and say, based on X, Y, or Z. That's what the thing is. But the TV, this is what I mean. So the TV audience can hear the referee talking to the TMO in rugby.
Yeah,
especially when they're reviewing a try, because they don't go to the TMO for a huge amount other than to check high tackles. The referee doesn't get a note in his ear to say, "Oh, by the way, you need to check this." It's the referee
Yeah.
going to the TMO, not the other way around.
I mean, it doesn't have to be pumped through the stadium. Fine, put it for the TV audience. I think that'll be more than enough because at least people in the stadium will know. Oh, well, I'll see that later on tonight. I'll see what the decision-making process was, and I'll see why they made that decision. Because I don't get why football as a sport feels, and referees, officials within football feel that their job shouldn't be scrutinised. I don't, like, they scrutinise themselves. That's like saying criminals police criminals. It's like,
yeah, because every referee has an assessor that's at the game, don't they?
Yeah, which is from the refereeing association.
Yes.
It's like when you get this is way off topic, but it's like when you get a parking ticket, you appeal to the people that have given you the parking ticket.
Parking ticket, yeah.
There needs to be independent assessment somewhere along the line. And it's the same thing with the referees. Referees should be able to be scrutinised, not as in like what are you doing? That was stupid. You stupid. It should be more like
I think
can you tell us your decision making behind that?
Yeah, if there's a what's deemed a controversial moment in a game, then they should have to come out and explain why they didn't give said decision.
Yeah, because you might not necessarily agree with it, and that's fine. But at least now you have a reason. And you're probably not as annoyed because you have a reason behind it, rather than just why did he give that one and not that one?
Yeah, you can understand it if the referee says, I couldn't see it from my angle where I was standing. It looked like X, Y, or Z.
Yeah.
Fine. It's been explained. Move on from it. My problem with VAR specifically is it's still outside of offsides. And they still need to make a better camera angle for how they work out offsides, because there's no way you can tell me whether two players are in line when you're looking at a diagonal picture of two players.
I will give you my my idea for an ideal VAR at the end of this, but yeah, it includes the offsides. Carry on.
It's still someone in a room making a subjective decision about what's happened on the field, and then advising someone else of their subjective decision. I feel like referees should go to the monitor more and actually use it for the purpose it was intended for. The video assistant referee, if it's like for a penalty or something like this, to say, I think you should look at this, but not, there's contact, you should look at this. Shouldn't influence the decision of what's going on in their ear. You should say, hang on a minute, you've missed this. Because it worked really well within the Euros. There was a lot more of referees
I think
going to the monitor.
In general, in international tournaments, I think it's worked okay. In all the international tournaments it's been involved in, I think it's genuinely been all right. It's been nowhere near as bad as club football. But
and that's because referees go to the monitor more.
I think that might be a language thing as well, maybe?
Potentially, but utilise that.
Yeah.
If it's shown in international tournaments that going to the monitor is quicker because you're allowing the on-field referee to make said decision, it's not spending 4 or 5 minutes at Stockley Park where they're reviewing this decision and then telling the referee what to do, because that's someone's subjective decision rather than going back to the on-field referee to decide whether he wants to keep his decision. And that's my big problem with VAR. It's someone else refereeing the game for the referee. It's almost like the referees have gone, I don't have to take accountability for this anymore because he's making that decision for me.
Yeah, well, it wasn't me.
It wasn't me. Whereas it should be, I think there's contact there. They obviously, why have you made your decision? I think you should look at the monitor and then decide if you want to stick with your decision. And then the whole process becomes quicker, because how many times have you watched a game and waited 5 minutes for a VAR decision? There's a Spurs game against Sporting where they were trying to decide the minutest of offside. There was one Brighton game earlier in the season I was at versus Leicester where we had 3 different things come up on the VAR board for what they were checking. They were checking an offside, they were checking a foul, and they were checking a handball in the same incident. And it was only when it come up checking foul that they sent the referee over to the monitor. But that went on for 6 minutes. 6 minutes, and you've just got a stadium sat on their hands. because nobody knows what's going on.
Mm.
Players are trying to talk to the referee, and all the referee's doing is this. Is it? He's not communicating. I was just doing this, just pointing his headphone.
Which is what I'm saying, that there should be some sort of more communication. You know, there should be like you can hear what's going on, and he's like, "Hang on, we're just talking about what's going on at the minute, and then I will talk through the decision making with you after that." Yeah. But yeah, so
or put more information on the stadium screens, not just to say foul, goal disallowed.
Yeah, like letters, you know.
Yeah, just more information. So
the reason that they don't do that is I think they did that at the Newcastle game last weekend. And they put the video up on the screen, and the stadium erupted.
I'm not saying this. Put the video up because that you'll entice the crowd.
Yeah.
But it should be foul by that person on that person. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Reason why the goal was disallowed. Wow. So at least the stadium knows, not just foul, Højbjerg, goal disallowed. Do you know what I mean? Just foul on using a Newcastle player because you just like foul on Joe Willock by Højbjerg, high tackle, late challenge, pulled shirt. Do you know what I mean? A reason as to why. Yeah, a reason as to why you've given the foul. Because it just helps everybody understand what is going on. Where it says potential penalty, trip on that person or trip. Do you know what I mean? Just as a reason as to why. Because it just helps for a lot of people when you're watching it quantify that decision as to why that decision's been made. So yeah, if you then want to go back and watch the highlights later on, you know what you're looking for. I'm not saying they should play it on the stadium screens because that's controversial. That will incite a crowd. That I don't agree with, because they do that in American sports, and I don't agree with that. You know, just that gets too many people riled up, and that creates a different problem. But I do feel there needs to be more communication and more information.
You got anything you want to say, Danny, on this subject?
No, I mean, I don't know. Like, as I said at the beginning, it's good, but at the same time, it's not good. Like, international football, yeah, like, maybe it's been better, you know, but there should be more reasoning, yeah. And, you know, the thing is, I think it was MLS. There was a game once. I think it was a charity game or something, you know? Or, like, all-star game or something like that. So the referee was actually, like, they were... You could hear what they're talking, you know? And, like, the referee was, like, talking with the players, like, discussing, like, why did he give the foul, you know? And, like, stuff like that, you know? Like, that was very interesting. I think if they start implementing that more into the league, you know, like, that would actually be good. Like, if you're sitting at home watching the football, like, you actually hear the referee talking, you know?
Yeah.
Like, what is he saying? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, you understand the decision-making process a little bit more, don't you?
Yeah. And you know what pisses me off the most is when you're watching the game, and then next thing you know, like, it's just like, it goes to the VAR room. You have no idea that it will go to the VAR room. I don't know if that happens to you guys, but sometimes when I'm watching here, suddenly out of nowhere, like, it was like a team was counterattacking or something. I hear a whistle, and the next thing you know, it's like they're shooting at the VAR room, you know? So
I don't think it's as abrupt as that in this country, but it does happen sometimes. Yeah.
Because I think there was a moment before in an English League game where a team had actually scored, and then VAR brought it back and gave a penalty against the team that scored because of a foul. But that's another kind of a problem with VAR in terms of, like, how far back does it actually need to go?
I think it's between bouts of play, isn't it? You know.
But they talk about, like, phases of play, but what counts as a phase of play?
I don't buy into that. I think that the thing, the damning thing that I think as well is that before 2016, I think IFAB was a separate independent entity, and they had changed 4 rules in 25 years. Then IFAB got molded into FIFA so that it was all under one umbrella. they have changed more rules in the past 7 years than in the preceding 50.
Yeah, the handball rules changed 6 times in 6 seasons, isn't it?
Yeah, because back when it was an independent adjudicator of rules, they didn't mess around with it very much. The main, they tried to keep it consistent and just clarified rules. But since it got rolled into FIFA and it's all under FIFA now, yeah, they've changed more rules in the past 7 years than they did in the previous 50. And a lot of it is because they're like, okay, well, let's just make this rule different so that then we don't need to clarify it a little bit more. Okay, well, and that's what leads to confusion, because it's like, well, this rule is completely different than it was last year.
Well, that's like the offside rule for the.
Yeah, I'm going to get into this
game.
in a minute. So,
because for saying, like, although Kane was behind the ball, he was still offside, because that rule got changed within the last 2 seasons. Because he was still, because when Emerson Royal headed it back to Kane, Kane was deemed in an offside position because he was still ahead of the Sporting player by a toenail, which I thought was supposedly supposed to be bigger lines to give the offensive teams benefit of the doubt, but that clearly doesn't look like it's happened. But because he was in front, it doesn't matter whether the ball went back or not, he was still offside. I was like, but the ball's gone backwards. You can't be offside if the ball's gone backwards. Because the rule was if the ball goes forward and you're ahead of the last player, then that's offside because you've gained an advantage. But the ball's coming back to him.
Would you like to hear my ideal?
I would. That's why
officiating / VAR situation. So let me know what you think about this, guys. I've given this.
I was kind of interested to get your idea because you've both been coaches. So to get your idea from the coaching point of view in terms of what you would like to see.
I mean, some more nudity, I think, I think Sepp Blatter said once about how people would watch more women's football if they wore shorter shorts, right? Could we get that involved somehow?
Well, Sepp Blatter was a bit crazy.
Yeah, Sepp Blatter was a twat. Okay, no, so honestly, what I would like, so first and foremost, is I would like more clarity from officials. Mic them up. Most sports do that nowadays so that we can understand, it doesn't have to constantly be on, but like when there's discussions going on between them, the assistants, VAR, maybe we can hear what's going on. That will be a little bit more helpful. There needs to be more accountability as well. So like I hate with a passion that people can't say anything derogatory about referees or officiating or anything like that without getting fined for bringing the game into ill repute. I should be allowed to go, I genuinely don't believe he did his job very well today, without getting fined.
Yeah.
Why am I getting fined for turning around and saying, in my opinion, I don't think he did his job very well today, and I think that he needs to go away, watch this match again, and learn from some of his mistakes? That is not me going, he's an idiot, I want him dead, I hope that his whole family gets murdered. That is me.
With biasm.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying on this day, he's had a bit of a problem. Or they, she, whatever. They need to go away,
the referee,
review this performance and learn from their mistakes. If I turn around and say, in my opinion, I just generally don't think they've done a very good job today, that's not me now accusing him of bias. That's not me bringing the game into ill repute. You should be able to
evaluate.
Not evaluate, but criticize. Yeah.
Critique.
Yeah, critique. You should be allowed to critique someone's performance in any situation. If you are not doing your job to the best of your abilities, I should be able to say, I don't think you've had the best day today, and there are learning opportunities for you in this game. Now, that's just my opinion. You might not agree with it. That's fine. That's not a problem. But I should be allowed to say it without the FA going, £10,000 fine. How dare you criticise a referee? Because so many interviews are like, what did you make of the penalty? I don't want to say anything that's going to get me into trouble.
Yeah.
I don't want to say anything that's going I don't want to say anything against referees.
To have an opinion now, aren't they?
Yeah. Whereas I think that I should be able to, respectfully, critique someone's performance. You know, I'm not saying he's an idiot, he shouldn't be on that field, he's got no right being in this, but I can turn around and say, I don't think he got the decisions right today, and I think there was a lot of inconsistency in the way they officiated that game. That's my first.
We criticize players all the time. Well, why can't we criticize referees? You know,
you criticize anyone that doesn't do their job properly. Yeah,
you know, especially in this sport, like in this field, like football. You know,
sport in general, everyone else gets criticised, but the officials in football, for some reason, don't get criticised.
Yeah.
Now, I would also like to see more respect towards officials as well, and I genuinely think it should be a captains only talking to referees. I don't like the whole surrounding and berating refs. I don't like that. I get that tempers flare, and you might get a little bit, but I generally think the refs should go away, and if they don't go away, say, if you don't go away now, I'm going to book you. And book 6 or 7 players.
Yeah, threaten and do that. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Give them a warning. Say, walk away and I will talk to the captain. You know, and the captain should go, guys, come on, go. Or say, walk away now. If you do not walk away, I will book you. And if you continue, I will give you a second yellow card. Simple as that. I don't think that we should be afraid, officials should be afraid to spoil the occasion of the match. Yeah. Because it should be like, well, don't act like a twat.
Yes.
I will give you 3 chances, walk away, and I will talk to the captain.
Yeah, it's a little bit like treating people like adults, isn't it? You've had your warning.
But I think that if you mic them up, that will help with that as well. Because you will hear the referee go, walk away now, I will talk to the captain. Walk away or I'm going to give you a yellow card.
Do you think that they won't mic them up because of the language?
No, they don't mic them. No,
they might though, you know?
I don't think that's the case. I think that but the problem is that you can also stamp that out pretty quickly as well. A lot of the things that I'm going to talk about, it will take a while to turn the corner, but you will stamp it out eventually, you know? Do you really think that I can't understand what someone's saying when they go, who cares whether I can hear them or not? Yeah, I know exactly what he's saying. So, but anyway, we'll get more into that in a minute. I genuinely don't think they'll mic them up for the same reason that they don't let people critique them. Because they're so worried about their control over all the everything football that it turns into a situation where you can, you know, it's a dictatorship. It's a military dictatorship. Do not say anything bad about the leader or the leader will send you to the gulag.
Yeah.
And that's why they don't do interviews. That's why they don't do clarifications. That's why they don't do statements. That's why you can't critique them without being fined, because they're so fragile in their decision making and their control over it that seems to be the issue. Whereas I think if you're a bit stronger about it and you mic them up, and if people swear, then you can then start to police that eventually as well. Right, yellow card for swearing. Because I'm mic'd. Don't come into my face and start screaming swearing, because people will hear it. You know, and that will eventually drop out anyway if you're talking one-on-one to a captain. You know, if I'm talking one-on-one to or 2-on-1 to the 2 captains, then you won't get as much swearing and everything like that as well. And that will happen if you start giving out more punishments for people getting right in your face. Which is why I'm saying I get that passions flare sometimes and people will come and charge you and talk to you and scream at you. But that's when you just take a moment and say, okay, are you done? Walk away now. I will talk to the captain and I will explain my decision to them if they want, but you need to walk away. And if they carry on, then you can turn around and go, right, I have given you that warning. Continue now and I will book you. Walk away. And if they carry on, then you go, okay, I warned you, book them. And then send them off. And if you send 3 or 4 players off, you send 3 or 4 players off. They will soon learn, I can't do that anymore. And managers will be pissed if they're like, you got sent off because you wouldn't walk away, you fucking idiot. 3 weeks fine. You've cost me, you in the team, because you're an idiot. Managers will soon, they'll soon have, you know, issues where they're not going to put up with it anymore. which also comes into my VAR a bit later on. I will explain that. So that's the first thing that I would like to sort out in that situation. With regards to VAR, I think it should be a challenge system. I don't think
How would you work that at the speed of the game?
Well, because what are they doing at the moment now? Are they?
Well, what do you mean by a challenge system?
What? So, for instance,
So
in
who
most
instigates that
sports, the coach, the manager can issue the challenge, yeah, and the challenge will like like in American football, you throw out the flag. It doesn't need to be like that. You can have like a button or something that you press, or you go to the fourth official, like I want to challenge that, and then when the ball goes out of play, the fourth official can go, okay, there's been an official challenge. And then you explain what you're challenging for, like, oh, we want to challenge that offside decision. We want to challenge that was a corner. We want to challenge that, you take it up to certain levels, like I think a corner
I wouldn't challenge. Yeah, I would.
I don't know. I think a corner is legit because that is a genuine goal scoring opportunity. Throw-ins, no, we won't bother challenging them. You can't challenge a throw-in or something like that. But I think a corner, I think that's a legit challenge because that's a legit goal scoring opportunity from a corner. If you think it's a corner and they give a goal kick, you can challenge that, and you get 3 challenges a half, and then this also then goes back to the whole you're now relying on the players more, and I honestly think that this will then start cutting out diving and things like that as well, because if I go to him, do you think that was a legit touch on you for a penalty? And they're like, yeah. And then it comes back, clearly it was a dive. I'll be like, you've cost me a challenge. You've cost me a challenge because of your ego and your bull crap. And then I think players would be more likely like, no, don't challenge that. I wouldn't. Like, I don't think you can get that.
Yeah.
Well, I actually saw a booking for a dive yesterday. One of those rare instances where I actually saw yesterday a player get booked for diving.
I mean, it happens sometimes, but not as often as it should.
No, 100%.
But yeah, so I think that it should be a challenge system. You get 3 challenges a half, because in most sports, that's what you have. The only things that will be automatic are... Pardon?
2, most sports are 2.
All right, 2 challenges a half. Whatever. Doesn't really matter. I don't really care. But if you get the challenge wrong, you lose it, don't you? And if you get the challenge right, then you keep it for that half. No, it still goes anyway.
Yeah, so if you're referring to like American sports, if you challenge twice and you win them both, you get a 3rd challenge. Right. If you challenge and you lose, you only get your one other challenge. That's it.
Okay, well then there you go. There's a rule like that there. I mean, anything along those kind of lines, but it should be within my control to make a challenge. Because therefore, then I'm not challenging every tiny little thing as well. I'm thinking more about what I want to challenge and things like that. So if I think that he was clearly offside in that situation, I'm definitely challenging that because he was 100%. But then if I think he might have been onside, it was really tight. And then I say to my player, look, are you sure he was offside? And if he's like, absolutely, 100%, I guarantee you he was offside, then I go, okay, I'll challenge it. But if he's like, I'm not sure, I don't know, then you think, okay, well, I'm not going to bother doing that. And then it might lead to a situation where more goals are coming back in again because we're not challenging every single tiny little offside. Because now I'm relying more about what I think, what they think, what, the on-field decisions and things like that. Maybe that's wrong. I don't know. And the thing is that initially, like I said, it's the same thing with the swearing. You're going to get players that are going to be like, 100%. But they're going to cost their coaches challenges. And coaches won't put up with that for long. You know, you are messing me up because you can't get out of your own egotistical way. Sort your crap out and start, otherwise I'm going to have to start dropping you. I'm going to start dropping you. I'm not going to start challenging when you think on things. I'm going to start fining you, things like that.
Yeah.
The offside bit, the most frustrating thing for me is when you can clearly see a player is about 12 yards offside and they let play go on and then they flag him offside. It's like, if you can quite clearly see he's offside, flag him offside.
Well, my point is as well is that I don't know. We've all played football since we were little kids, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So what's one thing that's drilled into you over and over and over and over again as a kid?
Play to the whistle.
Play to the whistle. So why is it all of a sudden I'm a full-grown adult with full-grown adulting comprehensive capabilities where I can see and hear other things and still logically come to the conclusion, oh no, wait, I can still carry on playing. Why is it all of a sudden when I see one person put a flag in the air, my brain short circuits and I'm like, oh, I can't focus. I have to stop playing now. You know, it's ridiculous. I mean, just because the guy puts the flag up doesn't mean that you should stop playing anyway.
Yeah.
But the ref can now make the decision, no, I'm going to let that go. Or, yeah, even I could see he was like 30 yards offside. Yeah, I'll blow that.
Yeah.
You know? I just, yeah, that's one thing. But we'll get more into my offsides in a minute. So. But yeah, so definitely should be a challenge system so that the only thing, yeah, like I said, the only thing that I think would go automatically is dangerous, reckless play. I think that doesn't need a challenge. That goes automatically to a VAR
goal line
decision.
decision to stay as well.
But the goal line decisions is done by the watch now anyway, so that's that's fine anyway. That's already a system that's in place that genuinely works. Apart from one time where I've seen it hasn't. I only saw once, but
there's been twice. Yeah.
Fair enough. I would take your word on that, but I've only seen one time where it didn't work properly. So, but I mean, that's generally a quite agreed upon, pretty good system, and it works pretty well, right? Yeah. So that stays anyway. That's an independent thing from VAR anyway, so that's fine. But the only thing that I would say goes automatically is dangerous, reckless play. That goes automatically to VAR. You don't need to challenge for that because if the refs missed it, but the VAR has seen, there was something really bad in there that you didn't notice. I genuinely think you should go and check that out. But then we're talking about situations where pretty much everyone can see, oh, yeah, that's definitely, he needs to go for that.
And there's going to be a break in play there anyway because if it's that bad, a foul would have been given anyway. So there's already a break in play.
But I'm also talking about like things that happen off the ball that like the ref can't see and things like that as well.
Yeah.
Like if we've seen an elbow be thrown in the background when the ref's got his back turned or something, that can go automatically to a VAR. You don't need to challenge that, for instance. So those are what I would say is that it definitely needs to become more of a challenge system rather than we automatically check every tiny little decision throughout the entire game anyway. Now tell me that's not going to speed the game up from how it is already anyway. If we're checking every little thing already
hopefully it will reduce the 5-minute VAR checks.
Yeah, because now you're also in a situation where the ref needs to go to the monitor more. Because if I make a challenge and the ref doesn't go to the monitor, I think
every decision, if it goes to VAR and there's a VAR decision to be made, the referee should go. The ref
should go to the monitor. Yeah, but then what I'm saying is
he's the one in charge of the game.
Absolutely,
so he should go to the monitor.
100% agree with you. The problem is the way that VAR is set up at the moment. He's going to be going to the monitor every couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm saying if you make it a challenge system, that's 4 challenges, maybe 6 in an entire game.
Yeah.
And it's not always going to be every 6. There's not always going to be 6 challenges every single game because there will be situations where you go, nah, I'm not challenging that. That was clearly, there was nothing wrong with that goal.
Or
because you're as a coach, Danny, you've watched games surely and you've been like, that was a good goal actually.
Yeah.
Even if it's against you, you're just like, that was actually a really good goal.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to challenge that.
No, obviously
at the moment, you might be like, nah. But when you think about it afterwards, you're like,
oh no, not even heat at the moment. There have been games where I've been like, oh man, that was brilliant. Like in the moment, just like, Jesus, that was a great goal. And then I'm like, as a coach, like, well done.
Especially if you have, let's say, you can complain about it twice or something, then you're going to think about it, You're not going to go and, complain on every thing. You're like, yo, I want to challenge, no.
It's going to be legit. Otherwise, you're just going to be... Otherwise, it's a tool in your arsenal that you're just going to be burning through and wasting all the time. And then you'll soon realise...
Tell me, continue.
I was just going to say, it just comes to a situation where you just start thinking, no, I need to be smarter about this. I can't always be on like emotion. A challenge. You know, I need to think a little bit more. You know, that was all I was going to say. Carry
on. What I was going to say is, because the thing is with VAR, like, if the referee is going to stop the game every couple of minutes, like, do you know how long the half is going to go? You know, like, I understand, yeah, okay, like 45 minutes, and then they're going to add like a minute or two if there was like some VAR and stuff. But at the same time, like, just the players stopping, like the pause, you know? I don't know, man. It just kind of kills the vibe, you know?
Yeah,
Even if you think
absolutely.
about it, like, from a player's aspect too, not just like spectator, you know? Because like you're watching a high intensive game, like you're watching this counter attacks, pressing, and then suddenly like the game stops. They go back
like a
and then it
5-minute
stops
break
again, and then go back and then it stops again. Like the cycle, like, you know. That's why I think if they do what you're suggesting, like challenges, that would be more smart. Because now coaches will start to think it'll even be like a pre-game team talk kind of thing. They know, like, guys, look, we have 2 challenges or 3 challenges or whatever, you know. We can't challenge for everything. If you think it's the right thing, yeah, then we do it. If not, don't waste my time, you know, like, let's be real. You get me?
Exactly. And there will be situations in the beginning where players will away challenges.
Yeah.
But they'll soon stop doing that once the coach is like, I'm not listening to you anymore. Because you just keep wasting my time. You know? Like, players will eventually cotton on quickly to like, no, don't
it's
challenge
useless,
that
you know,
one.
it's waste of time, you know, don't do it, you know.
Or no,
like
wait, that is stone cold. I know for a fact. I never touched him. I know that. I promise you, Gaffer. I swear to God, I did not touch him. Then you'll be more inclined to be like, okay, I'll challenge that penalty then.
Yeah, I believe my player, you know. Why not?
Yeah.
Let's challenge.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'll say that's smart, I think.
I mean, that's what I thought it should have been right from the off. I don't know why we did this special rule of, well, no, we're special. We need to look at every single decision ourselves, and it has nothing to do with you as players or as coaches. It's nothing to do with you. It's all about us. I thought it was ridiculous anyway. And then the final point would be changing the offside law to being a situation where if any part of the player's body is onside, then the player is onside. Because the way that the rule is set up at the moment was designed for a situation to prevent players from goal hanging and to prevent giving the attackers an unfair advantage. But now we're in a situation where it's just become so in favour of the defence that it's not there for its original purpose anymore. And I genuinely think there should be a situation where if my foot is onside and I'm still running towards the ball, then I'm onside. That would be how I would change the offside law, because then you're not getting these stupid tiny millimetre. Have we put the lines in the right place? Have we got, you know,
situation?
Yeah, you might have that the other way around with like, oh, is his toe onside and stuff like that. I think you'll have that far less than if you have it.
If they're leaning, there's not really gaining an advantage, is it?
Exactly. My feet are in the same place your feet are. We're both starting from the same point, basically. Just because I'm leaning forward has not given me a massive advantage.
Yeah.
Plus,
it might actually even decrease like your speed, you know?
Also, if you now combine that with my new and improved VAR, there's less offside challenges that you're challenging for anyway. So there's going to be even less opportunities where you're now putting the lines in anyway. So now it's going to become a situation of he was clearly offside.
Turn it into a point where if you're going to make offside that specific, it can only be a part of your body you can actually score a goal with.
Play the ball with. Yeah. That's what I meant anyway. Sorry, but
you can't play the ball with your hands. Why does it matter if your hand is offside?
Yeah.
What does it matter?
So that was one situation, wasn't it, with a Spurs game where he was gesturing where he wanted the ball played, and they marked him offside. And it was like, are you
his hand was offside.
Joking? It's like he's pointing where he wants the ball. That is not an unfair advantage. That is not, and I hate using the term spirit of the law. I hate using that term, but that rule was genuinely brought in to stop giving attackers such a massive advantage, because I can go and stand on the 6-yard line and I can just wait here for the whole game. You know?
Yeah, that's what it was designed to stop, especially with
now,
the
what are you going to do?
eradication of the back pass.
Yeah, same as that. Yeah. It was designed to stop like the slowing, because it got to a point where every single goal kick, the goalkeeper would take the kick to the player would pass the ball back, he'd pick it up and then kick it out of his hands.
Yeah.
Every single goal kick was turning into that, which is why they brought that rule in. So it sped up the game.
It was also to combat time wasting, because they would literally just do that to waste time.
Yeah. And it was just like, that's why the rule was brought in the first place. It wasn't brought in as like we need to, minuscule, like this, like microscopic level.
Micromanage.
Yeah, it was generally brought in to stop a player from being like 10 yards offside and then being able to go and score a goal. Yeah. That's generally what the rule was brought in for. It wasn't brought in to make it so that a defence could catch someone off by a freaking toenail.
Or their fingernail or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wasn't brought in to this is what I found with VAR. VAR has taken away more goals than it has given us.
Oh, massively.
Yeah.
And that's not
and it
fun.
hasn't reduced the controversy, which everybody said it was going to do, because you're still looking at subjective decisions.
It made it worse.
Yeah, in fact, it has made it worse. Yeah, I agree with that completely.
It's a whole new thing to moan about.
100%. Not just referees missing decisions, which referees will always do because they're human. It's a person looking at a screen, looking at this, not giving a decision, which 99% of every entire person in the world could see was a blatant penalty or something like that, and this person is sat in the room has decided to not give it for whatever.
But that's the thing, is that my way of doing it, the emphasis is still very much on the referee. It's still their game to referee.
And that's what I want to see more of.
I challenge it. The referee goes, okay, and they go over to look at the screen, and they go, actually, no, you're right. I missed that. Okay, no problem. I'll turn it over. Or they go, no, I stand by my decision. I think that's a foul. So I stand by my decision on that front, which is okay, because then at least the referee is refereeing the game. It's not someone else refereeing the game and saying, ref, you need to overturn that.
Yeah. It's the referee at the pitch at that time still taking accountability for that decision, not someone at Stockley Park going, yeah, I'd give that, or no, I wouldn't. Yeah.
So the only reason that the VAR is there is to referee things off of the ball that the referee can't always see.
It's to assist referees. That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
As you say.
Or they can be used as a sounding board. Where if they're like, oh, I'm not really sure. I mean, he could have touched him. I mean, what do you think? Do you think from
is there anything
what
on the
you're
screen
looking at
that's saying that I've got this wrong?
Do you think that he could have touched him or not? I mean, I'm not sure. It's to assist the referee, video assistant referee,
not to re-referee the game.
Yeah. So now, in my way of doing it, they are now back in an assisting role. They are not now turning around to the ref and going, yeah, you need to, I think that you need to take a look at that again. Or yeah, I think there's definitely a penalty. I'd give it if I was you. It should now be a situation of, I, as the coach, have challenged this. The referee goes over to the monitor to look at the monitor and decide for themselves. If they want some backup, they can then talk to the video assistant referee at Stockley Park and say, I really am not sure. What can you give me some advice on this? I mean, it could go either way, really. Then they've got a little bit of backup.
Yeah. Which
happens in other sports sometimes, where you sound it off a little bit and you go, look, this is what I'm thinking.
It's what happens in the NFL.
Yeah. It's like, this is what I'm thinking. What do you think? Do you agree with that? Or would you see it slightly differently? Well, I mean, I would probably look at it like this. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Okay. Well, let me see it again. And I'll make, it's more of a collaborative effort. And the ref is still refereeing the game.
Yeah.
So,
We're still in control, yeah.
take a look at all of that, and what do you think? Have I improved VAR, or have I just made it worse?
Sped the process up, definitely, and given the referee accountability, which is one of my biggest bugbears.
That's what I would do with like VAR, refereeing in general, offsides, yeah.
Whole shebang.
Just because, I mean, I know I'm cynical anyway. I know I've become a very, very cynical person, but I don't enjoy watching football anymore because 9 times out of 10, it just makes me angry. And I know, and that's not.
I prefer watching it in stadiums than I do watching it on TV.
I haven't seen a game in a stadium with VAR yet, but I have the feeling an 8 or 9 minute pause in a game would annoy me.
Yeah.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
Painful, as you said.
I mean, watching it on TV is fine because at least I can get my phone out and look at something else, or I can change the channel while they're making a decision or something like that. But in the stadium, I just got to sit there in the cold in January for 7 minutes while some guy is holding his finger to his ear.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying my VAR is perfect. I'm not saying that by any means, but I think it's way better than what we have at the moment, and it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I'm not going to deny that.
The one that I've just portrayed to you, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Tell me you wouldn't prefer that as a VAR.
Because if you think about it, that sounds more right for a video assistant referee, for a term of video assistant referee, you know?
Yeah. I don't get why football thinks it's this special case where it doesn't have to do things the same way as everyone else does.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Everyone good? Okay, cool. I'm going to move us on because that's like 3 topics now, and we've probably been like well over 2 hours.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So we're going to move on to the Hall of Fame. Now, there's no tiebreaker this time. So we are going to do 2 players that I actually said, not on the last episode, the episode before, we were going to do next week. And then last week we ended up doing the Premier League players because I forgot, basically. And also, it kind of made sense because we were doing the Premier League. And this week we're doing internationals again. Ooh. So it kind of makes more sense anyway. So we're going back to the international scene. And we are choosing between the 2 most capped international players.
Okay.
So this, gentlemen, will include 2 players that you might not have necessarily heard of. So no pre-bias. Now you need to decide off of your own back. So choice 1, Datik Mira So Chin An. There you go.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to say that again.
Datik Mira Son Chin An.
Is it Indian or where is he from?
Was born the 28th of July, 1950 in Malacca, Malaysia. He started his career in 1969 playing for Malacca. However, it is with Selangor where he made his most success, winning 6 domestic cups. At the age of 19, So earned his first of 219 caps with Malaysia. The centre-back would score 13 times for his country. However, this will be an issue in a moment. But what we do know is he won 6 domestic cups, 1 league title, an Asian Games bronze medal, 2 East Asian Games gold medals, 2 King's Cups, named an Asian All-Star twice, and inducted into 2 separate Hall of Fames. Now, as I say, he is the most capped men's player in history. However, the aforementioned record keeping becomes a little bit of a problem here. According to the RSSF, who are an organisation who attempt to confirm and correlate stats from multiple sources, and has 219 caps. However, FIFA only recognises 195 of these. So with 196 fully recognised caps is Badr Ahmed Al-Matarwa. He was born on the 10th of January 1985 in Kuwait City, Kuwait.
Can you say the name again?
Badr Ahmed Al-Matarwa.
Badr Mtawa. Oh, I'm definitely going with him.
Okay, well, spoilers, but he has made over 400 appearances for Kuwaiti side Qadsiya.
Qadsiya, and he still plays there.
Yes. He played for only one other club in his entire career. My writing is all over the place. One other club in his career. However, had he been given a work permit, he would have seen him play for Nottingham Forest.
Even Spain. I think he had trials.
How random is that?
I think he had trials with Malaga or something.
But wasn't given work permits. That's the problem.
You know why?
Because everyone hates Kuwait. I'm assuming it's got something to do with the Iraqi war.
No. You know what it is? Okay, so basically the guy, he works with not the special forces, but something like that, So he works there and then he plays football as well. You get me? So he's not just pro footballer. That's not just his job. He has a morning job, So his morning job basically, yeah. So his morning job, they didn't allow him to actually travel, because I think he had a good going on, maybe working for the sheikh or something like that, You get me? So some like that happened, and then Qadsiya were like, we're not gonna let you go, and something like that happened, But they said that it was visa issues,
Okay. Danny giving us some deeper insight into the Hall of Fame here. Nice, thank you very much. It's a benefit of having a Kuwaiti present, I guess. Yeah. He began playing for Kuwait in 2003 and continues to do so to this day, which Danny had already told us. So as of the 18th of July, that's when I wrote this down, 2022, his stats are as follows. These are probably different now. 443 club games with 334 goals, 196 caps with 56 goals, 8 league titles, 26 domestic cups, 2 continental cups, 1 Arabian Gulf Cup, 1 West Asian Championships, and, as I said before, arguably the most capped player, depending on how you judge this.
And you missed one thing.
What did I miss?
I think he even won top scorer or something like that. And there were players including Ronaldo, I think, or back then, I remember, I think it was Ronaldinho.
You mean
or
in a
Brazilian
season?
Player. Huh?
You mean in a season, like world's top scorer?
Yeah, I think so, Or it was either international or as top season scorer,
Yeah. So Dennis Bergkamp won that last week. We were talking. He won that. So yeah. So he may well have won that one season. I didn't find that stat anywhere, so I can't confirm that. But I will bow to your superior knowledge of Kuwaiti football.
It might even be someone Ito. I think it was Ito or someone it was a top class striker,
Right.
I remember at that time, and he won the award, Yeah.
There you go. See, there's one other stat. So yeah, discuss, debate, ask questions, or just simply make your decision straight away, as Danny has.
Well, I don't think there's much debate, really, is there?
I don't know. Is there?
I am going to, for me personally, I'm going to bow to the guy that's still playing, that's still going, that's still going to add, that could potentially continue to add to his record.
I should point out that these are men's internationals all times.
Yeah.
Because obviously the 2 women that we discussed a couple of weeks ago have got 3 times as much as them. So.
Yes. Which is, again, with the female game, is not that uncommon, to be fair.
Yeah, that makes more sense, yeah. But
it's not that uncommmen. But Danny's passion as well, talking about that individual.
Driven you.
Yeah, it really has. in that direction, because straight away you could sense from Danny's tone of voice and his passion. Straight away, I was like, yeah, that's mine. Seems really kind of excited about the player.
He was a legend. Like for like
it is.
Kuwait,
It is by the sounds of it. Yeah.
Yeah, like in Kuwait, like when you hear that name, they're like doesn't matter what team you support in Kuwait, you know. When you hear that name, like when he puts the blue shirt on, like the national team shirts, everybody just like supports him, you know.
It must be like that equivalent of a Messi or Ronaldo for that.
Kinda, yeah, you know.
That sort of the hero that everybody knows. Yeah. Not necessarily a hero, but someone that everybody knows. That they.
But he's saying no. As soon as he puts on the blue shirt of Kuwait, like everybody loves him. Everybody loves him. He's like the national hero. No matter what team he plays for,
exactly.
He's the national hero.
Even though
you hate him when he's playing for the club that isn't your team, but when he plays for the country, you love him. You worship the ground he walks on.
There's even another player. Maybe you guys should like watch his videos because that dude was crazy. Like I don't think there was a more technical Kuwaiti football player than him. And he also had trials in Spain and it didn't work out. His name was Fahad Al-Anizi. I can send you his name. You guys can check him out. Like his skills were like on a different level. He kind of reminds me of like Ronaldinho, you know. He had like this long hair, you know, kind of vibe to him, you know.
Everyone at that point, wanted to be Ronaldinho.
Yeah, but no, like this dude, he was actually very talented. I just don't know why he didn't make it, you know. I don't know his like story, but he was very like talented.
This is why I wanted to do this section on the podcast. When me, Tom, and Thelan were discussing it originally, I insisted that we put this section in here because you get stories like this about players that not a lot of people have heard from outside of Europe. I mean, there will always be like the players. Like I said, the first one was Peter Schmeichel, David Seaman, and then we had like Rooney and Bobby Charlton. But then we've had things like Mokhtar.
Bergkamp and Cantona, didn't we?
Bergkamp, Cantona, yeah. But then we had Mokhtar and Ali Dyer. And then we have this week with Dakia and Badda, you know. And it's like, I like seeing those smaller, sorry, I should say, quote unquote, celebrities and being recognized for the skills and the talents that they have as well, you know. Like you're saying, like the whole
educational piece.
Exactly, you know, and had it not been for a few little things happening, you're saying, like, for instance, with Badda, like the visa situation being messed up for him. We had the situation where Mokhtar, who didn't want to leave, was it Thailand? Thailand, Bangkok, Malaysia. Wasn't it? Yeah. No. It was. This was a few weeks ago. The second top international goal scorer, third behind Ronaldo and Dalia.
Yeah.
But yeah, he didn't want to leave Thailand. He could have gone to Arsenal. He could have gone to
Arsenal, wasn't it?
Yeah. And he just, no, I like where I live. I don't want to move abroad, you know. But had he done that, names might have been way more popular, you know.
Yeah.
But it's just situations like, had it not been for a few things, we would all know about these people. But, you know, that's why I wanted to do this.
He's a card in FIFA, isn't he? He's a FIFA Ultimate Team player, I think. So,
I mean, yeah, he's probably more well known because he did play in Europe, you know.
Yeah.
But had he stayed, where did he play? Iraq, was it? Iran. Iran, wasn't it? Yeah, Iran.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Had he Ali Dyer? Ali Dyer.
Oh, Dyer. Yeah, Ali Dyer. His Persian.
Yeah. Had he stayed in Iran and not gone to Germany, then no one would have ever heard of him, probably. But because he managed to get to Germany,
he was known though, Richie. He was known in the Arab region, you know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what. Sorry.
He was a legitimate superstar, I think.
I'm speaking very Eurocentrically now, and I apologise for that.
No, it's okay.
What I meant by everyone was, everyone in the European Western world. I apologise. That was a very Western Eurocentric statement from me. That is exactly the kind of thing that I wanted to get away from with this Hall of Fame, was for that specific reason, to be like, there are some genuine superstars out in the world that we just haven't heard of because of one reason or another. And I'm so happy that it actually fell that we have a Kuwaiti superstar with someone who is Kuwaiti on the show.
Perfect.
Works out perfectly.
Perfect.
Yeah. Because you can fill in all of the gaps. You can tell us exactly how loved this person is. And that's exactly the point of this section.
Yeah.
So
it's a nice section, honestly. It was a topic that, like, when he said his name at first, I was like, wait, like, did he say it? Like, because you obviously pronounced it wrong,
Western
But then I was like,
pronunciation.
can you repeat the name? Honestly, it's a very hard name to pronounce, especially because it's
not
Arabic.
I try. My Arabic is not great, you know. Shwir. But it's very westernized Arabic. So I really try to get my tongue and my throat around the noises, but it's so hard because, especially in English, we don't use our throats and our tongue and our nose that much to sound things out. Whereas there's a lot of like a lot of stuff that ends in the throat in Arabic, like, and
You're right,
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's very difficult for us to do, especially as English speakers. So I try to pronounce things, but I do get it wrong.
It wasn't bad. Like, trust me, it wasn't bad.
Mashallah.
No, honestly, he's a good player. Like,
yeah.
And the thing is, like, I mean, I don't want to say like I'm sure he smokes, but because like definitely, every Kuwaiti smokes.
Most Arabic people smoke.
Yeah, like the dude. I'm definitely sure like he smokes cigarettes, but he plays like as if he doesn't smoke. And when he's on the pitch, like you look at him and like his age, like the football that he's playing, like the younger kids on the team, they don't even do half of the job that he's doing, at that age. Like you see him.
I mean, the fact that he's still being called up regularly for the national team goes to show you that
they don't have no one better. He's a striker. Like he's the striker. He's the cap. He's like Zlatan, for Sweden. You get me?
Yeah.
He's like Rooney.
It's not a bad comparison to make, though, is it? He's like Zlatan.
I would say Zlatan, more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way he looks after himself, the way he carries himself, the way he plays.
No one is clamouring for Rooney to come back into the England team. But I guarantee you there are Swedish people clambering for Zlatan to come back into the Swedish team.
He unretired, didn't he? To try
because they begged him to.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Whereas no one cares if Rooney comes back into the team or not. No one wants Rooney back.
There'll be uproar if he came back into the team.
Most people didn't want him back for his own testimonial.
I was going to say.
Like that own Rooney special, like where he came back out of retirement. Most people didn't even want him back for that.
No, they did not.
Like,
absolutely did not.
Yeah, mate, just go back to Washington and bugger off.
You're just wasting everybody's time now, mate. Come on.
Yeah.
He was just being dramatic. He wanted some attention.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even want him like towards the end of his career anyway, did we? Like,
No.
England top goal scorer. We're like, yeah, but what have you done for us lately?
It legitimately was, yeah. What have you done at a major tournament? Nothing.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would say the Zlatan comparison's probably a lot
I would
better.
say that's the most accurate, yeah.
Well,
so he's that kind of a figure,
And as well, he should be. So he is going into our Hall of Fame.
Oh, 100%.
How is your Arabic, Danny?
I would say pretty good.
Could you welcome him into the Hall of Fame in Arabic?
Okay. بدر مطوع نرحب فيك إلى الهول اوف فيم.
Allah.
ما شاء الله. Clap.
Very well done. Thank you very much for joining me again this week, gentlemen.
No worries.
Yeah, guys, thank you. It was a couple of nice topics. Let's see. I can't wait for the next one.
Yeah, you guys need to come up with another topic because I'm not thinking about topics anymore. I'm going to let you guys decide.
Honestly, guys, speaking like before we go, I just remembered something. couple of days ago, Roma
this is
had a
highly
game.
unusual, I would like to say. Bringing up another topic in the outro.
Yeah, but we don't follow any rules. It's an off the cuff
Yeah, the
conversation.
beginning of
YOLO,
the show gives you that. Yeah, right? Oh, dude, you're so young.
Anyways, so let me continue before I forget.
Go.
So, and I believe this is going to open a new conversation. So, basically, a couple of days ago, I saw this Mourinho press conference after the game. I don't know if you guys saw it. I think it was when they tied, like they drew 1-1, I think, against Sassuolo or Sassuolo, some like that.
The game that Abraham scored in, I think it was.
Exactly that game. So he was like, all 16 players or like 16 players that participated today, 15 out of them, like I'm proud of them for like the effort that they did. There's one player, I told them that you can pack your bags and you can leave in the winter transfer window. When the winter comes, you're off, you know? Like, what I wanted to say is I just miss that coach's character, you know? Like, you don't see that nowadays. Like, where the player like messes up and then they give him like a second chance, a third chance, a fourth chance, and then like the same cycle keeps on going on, you know? With Mourinho, it's like either you're in or you're not, you know? The whole team was like, he didn't say who the player was, though. We don't know. Like, we're not going to know until after the World Cup, I guess, you know?
January the 1st, when the guys had his contract.
January the
1st, got rid of
guys they sold out, you know? Like, definitely that's it, you know?
Okay, well, this is a good topic, but I'm very aware of the fact that we've been going for over 2 hours already, probably. So how about we kick this topic off again next week?
I don't mind.
Is that okay? Yeah? Because I think that's a generally good topic because I've got some stuff that I would like to say with regards to that as well. So.
Okay, then. Let's keep this for next week then. Yeah, sounds good.
And I will try to remember because I'm editing this show. So
I'll
if
try.
Not, we've got our.
Don't forget.
Well, we're going to have to cover the World Cup anyway to start reviewing our picks, aren't we?
Yeah, well, we'll start doing that as well. But I mean, like I said, our World Cup predictions, our World Cup coverage show isn't going to come out till February anyway, probably. So that's how on the button we are, you know. So,
yeah.
But we will start next week's episode with this topic, and then we can go from there. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good.
Start with this, and then we'll round up. Then we'll go round up some stuff.
Okay.
I like that plan.
Well, thank you everyone for joining me again this week. Thank you everyone for listening. And you already know what the topic's going to be for next week. But until then, take care.
Some people are on the pitch. They think it's all over. It is now.
So if you like this video, please check out our other content. Click on the video below. Please check out this playlist. This is a Rich T Entertainment production.